What's up, ladies and germs, boys and girls? So we find ourselves, it would seem, do we not, in the last few days of 2020. Yeah, this year is winding down. And here in Portland, Oregon, man, it is an exceedingly excellent and beautiful morning. It doth overflow. It is so excellent. Yeah, I would like to talk about a little bit in this iteration of my video archive. I'd like to talk a little bit about how we got to where we are today, in short. And I think that it bears reminding that we would revisit those Hong Kong protesters of the summer and spring of 2019, and how, in a way, they set for us a kind of standard, how in a way they reminded us Americans about what America is about. It would seem that the going definition, the running, the wisdom, if you will, regarding what America is about in recent years, in recent decades, has just been about money. I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm just saying that's what people have thought. That's been kind of the general sentiment, maybe the uninformed sentiment, but nonetheless the general sentiment among people when you talk to them about, what is America? What is America about, man? It's about, for many people, it's just wealth. It's just the power of wealth, the most successful economy, right? Economic influence, flexing our economic influence, and democracy, but the fact is, there's a lot of democracies around the world. America doesn't stand out in any way as being any more democratic than any other country, right? They have elections in Mexico. They have elections in Iraq. They have elections in Egypt, okay? Democracy in and of itself does not set a nation apart. Democracy in and of itself is not this high bar, right, that civilization has risen to. So what is it about America? Now, I think that the Hong Kong protesters, there was a video that was a viral video of a handful of protesters in Hong Kong, all bearing American flags and singing through a bullhorn the American national anthem in English. And it was, the first time you see it, it almost brings a tear to your eye. You're like, man, these clearly they are not looking to Wall Street as their high encampment, their set of values that they hope to champion, right, in their own land. It is not Wall Street. It is not the American dollar. It is not even necessarily the American dream, to go and make a life for yourself. But maybe in a way it is. It's just not about the economic success. It's not about money. It's not about material measurements. That is not what the Hong Kong protesters were up in arms about. They were up in arms about freedom. Freedom against the tyranny of the despotic state. If you could create a set of balances, oftentimes, we see the scales of justice, right? The scales of justice. Well, really what America represents is the scale between the people and the government. And on this scale, right? On this American scale, the government shall not infringe, right? We have certain inalienable rights given to us by our Creator, by God, right? Suggesting that these values, these American values, these rights, if you will, are value statements regarding what is important. And what is being said of these value statements is that they come from God. They are concrete in that sense. Nothing is more concrete than God. Right? The things that God will do, the things that God will take, the things that God will give it are concrete. They outlast, as even the word says, man, that the word of God endures forever. That the earth will fade away, that the sun will fade away like an old garment, like trees that fall, like leaves that fall from the trees in the autumn. The glory of summer fades away. And so also this world and the material of this world will fade, will return to the dust, But the word of God endures forever. So the things of God are concrete. The things of God endure. The values which God sets forth are enduring. They are real. They're more real than real, right? They are reality, an enduring reality, an ever-enduring, concrete reality. And to this, the American assessment, the American dream, the American idea, builds its trust. It is buttressed in this sense that our freedoms come from God, not from government. The government shall not impede, right? Government shall not infringe. So the balances, the scales, if you will, on which the government stands on one scale and the people on the other, the scales are weighted towards the people. And it is not the goodwill of the government that the scale should be as such. It is from God. It is enduring. It is concrete. It is real. It is more real than real. And it is to this that America throws its hope. It's to this that America has cast its lot. And it is for these things, man, that the protesters in Hong Kong would stand in the streets, fly the American flag, marching through the streets of Hong Kong, standing against despotism in their own land, holding up the flag of freedom. In 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse something or other, 7, verse 7, I don't know. It says that the Lord is the Spirit. The Lord is the Spirit. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Much can be said, maybe in another video, regarding the will of God for mankind and freedom being His vision for us. Right? His hope for man is freedom, is liberty, his assessment of what matters. God's assessment of what matters. The will of God is for freedom. Not some bohemian, wanton spending yourself on whatever common mediocre desire appeals to you. Wasting yourself on the furnace of lust. This isn't the freedom it's speaking of, man. It's speaking of a higher freedom. It's speaking of the capacity to live and be alive and not be subject to the wages of corruption. To be free individuals, independent and mature, independent and efficacious. The freedom of God is that we may be efficacious people, to live and to be happy. And does not the Constitution state as much? that is unto life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And to this man, the people of Hong Kong, the youth of Hong Kong, did raise their voice singing the American anthem. You know, waving the American flag and singing the American anthem. And calling to America to come to the conflict, to rise to the occasion, and to stand against the despotism that is brooding in our midst. God bless.